Isekai.
The Rebirth of the Malicious Empress of Military Lineage. Chapter 73, Shinkayu. As Shinzin withdrew the troops from the front, and returned to the Ding capital, a wave of the uproar was set off. The first was naturally to praise Shinzin's heroic acts, and for emerging victorious in every battle that he was able to take the enemy down in advance. The emperor would bestow countless things down, and since Shinzin was an official of the first rank, there was no more promotion, but everyone guessed that the rewards will end up on Shinzin's son, Shinkayu. The other matter was that on the day of Shinzin's return to the capital, it coincided with old Shen Furin's birthday, but unexpectedly the ancestral hall caught fire, and the fifth young lady Shen was trapped in there. On that day, everyone in the Shen family treated it lightly, and Shinzin witnessed it himself. One fear that the Shen family would not be peaceful in the future. These two things were spread wildly in the capital. Some smiled while listening to it, but others were like ants on hot pan, going around anxiously after they heard it. In a room in the Shen residence western courtyard, Shen Miao stood up with her clothes draped over her shoulders. Shenzin and his wife were summoned into the palace by the emperor, but before they left, they deliberately mobilized the guards in the army to guard the western courtyard, practically letting the Shen family see clearly that they were defending against them. Yesterday, Shenzin returned in a hurry, and also went all over the place to look for a physician. Afterward, Shen Miao went to rest, and he did not dare to disturb, thus he had yet to speak to Shen Miao. "Is young lady feeling better?" Jingzi said worriedly. Her eyes fell onto Shen Miao's arm that was wrapped with gauze, and her eyes turned sour. She said, "If this servant was faster a little yesterday, young lady would not have to suffer such an ordeal. And now there will be scars." The burn wound was too deep, and the physician only said that it will heal, but it was not possible for there not to be a scar. Females cherished their appearance, and would not let there be a scar on their bodies. Now that Shen Miao had a burn injury, Jingzi kept blaming herself endlessly when she thought about it. "It is nothing." Shen Miao looked at her, and said with a smile, "You did a good job yesterday, and did not rush in due to anxiety. On the contrary, if you were to rush in, it would have spoiled my plans." Jingzi lowered her head. After Shen Miao fainted, Shinzin couple was enraged, and after some thought, she roughly understood what kind of intention Shen Miao had on mind. Because of that, Jingzi's heart ached more for Shen Miao. Most likely the path was exhausted, and she was at the end of the road, else she would not hesitate to throw herself into such a danger to show the true faces of the Shen family to Shinzin couple. An unmarried female at such a young age should originally be like other families' young ladies, playing the kin, and writing poetry, but every move that Shen Miao took was related to her own life. She had to work out a strategy for what she wanted as if she was walking on the sharp edge of the blade, and carelessness would mean no hope for a reprieve. "Whatever young lady says, this servant will do accordingly," Jingzi cried. Shen Miao was gratified in her heart. Jingzi was indeed the most courageous among the four maids, and if there were such similar matters in the future, Jingzi could be useful, but naturally, there was a need to slowly nurture Gu Yu, and the rest. She was not the unmarried Shen Miao, but Empress Shen, mistress of the 6 palaces. Thus, there was a need for her confidence, as what she would face in the future would be much more dangerous than what was happening now. If she could get used to it, these maids should also learn to get used to it. During her thoughts, one could hear a burst of hearty laughter suddenly coming from outside. "Younger sister." When Shen Miao turned her head, she saw Shinkayu walking in. He took off the armor he wore on the battlefield, and only put on a green sturdy outfit, and looked exceptionally handsome, with a wheat complexion. His two dimples that appeared when he smiled made that handsome and heroic appearance a little somewhat childlike. He walked closer to carefully look at Shen Miao before asking cautiously, "Does younger sister feel uncomfortable anywhere?" Shen Miao suddenly closed her eyes, and the memories of her past life came overwhelmingly. In all fairness, Shen Kaiyu as an older brother really did his best. At first, no matter how cold she treated Shen Kaiyu, he would always be warm to her. Afterward, something happened, and Shen Kaiyu had smeared some young lady's innocence, and was forced to marry that young lady as a wife. With that, everything changed. Mistakes were often made in his military work, and afterward, he fell from the horse, and broke his leg. Fast forward, that young lady made Shen Kaiyu wear a green hat, cuckold. In a fit of anger, Shen Kaiyu killed that adulterer, but who knew he was the only son of the Minister of Personnel? The minister submitted an imperial report, and Shen Xin spent most of his fortune to protect Shen Kaiyu's life, but in the end, Shen Kaiyu was found dead on a winter morning. Someone discovered his corpse in the middle of the pond. At that time Shen Miao had married Fu Ziyu Yi, and it was the critical period of the fight for the heir. When she heard of the grievous news, she rushed back to the residence, and what she saw was Shen Kaiyu's deformed corpse that was swollen due to the soak. Even if she was not close to Shen Kaiyu, but after all, they both had the same blood flow in them. She was so hurt and sad that she fell into a serious illness, but Fu Ziyu Yi sent Shen Xin off to battle at that time. That cold winter sunshine, that dripping wet body from the pond, Shen Kaiyu's pale and deformed face compared to the young face that had a touch of a smile in front of her, was like a sharp sword that thrust into her, making her hard to breathe. Shen Miao bent down quickly, and clutched her chest as she took big gasps of breath. "Younger sister." Shen Kaiyu jumped in shocked, and propped her up before roaring outside, "Go call the physician, quickly." Younger sister's health is indisposed. A hand grabbed onto Shen Kaiyu's arms. He turned back, and saw Shen Miao standing up as she held his arm before saying, "No need. It was only a lack of strength. Younger sister's health has yet to recover. It is appropriate to invite the physician to take a look." Shen Kaiyu shook his head, and said in a concerned tone, "I am fine." Shen Miao said to the hesitant Jingzi, "All of you withdraw." Her tone was firm and calm, which made Shen Kaiyu stunned for a moment. "Younger sister, what is the matter with you?" Shen Kaiyu asked. Once the words came out, he was vexed at himself for using such heavy words. He usually faced brute men in the army, and had forgotten to be softer and gentler to young females, and thus slow his words and tone down. "Yesterday, upon seeing you trapped in the fire, father and mother were frightened." "Younger sister, why were you in the ancestral hall? Were you being locked up?" However, Shen Miao shook her head, and smiled as she looked at him. "After a year of not meeting, is eldest brother doing well?" Shen Kaiyu was simple-minded, and said in a laughing manner as he scratched his head, "I am still alright. The army is always like this, make a few contributions, and wait for His Majesty to bestow some things. Younger sister can pick what you like from it." After finishing, he seemed to have thought about something, and happily said, "That is right. Father previously hunted a fire rat, and skinned it to make a cloak out of it. I will later get the servants to bring it over. That cloak is invulnerable to knives and spears, and could evade fire and water. If you had that cloak yesterday, then you will not be burned." His voice hardly finished when Shen Kaiyu froze on the stop. Shen Miao went up, and wrapped her hands around Shen Kaiyu's arms, and rested her head on his chest. Even if they were real siblings, they were after all not little children, so Shen Kaiyu was somewhat embarrassed for some time, even though he was overjoyed. It had been a long time since Shen Miao was so close to him, and he felt overwhelmed by the unexpected favor. Just as he was somewhat happy, his heart sank as he thought about Shen Miao's temperament. She must have suffered big grievances for her to be this unprecedentedly close to him today. He asked hurriedly, "Younger sister, is there someone bullying you? If there is someone, you just need to tell me, and I will beat him up till he was half dead." He spoke indignant at the injustice, but Shen Miao wanted to laugh. My Furen had an older brother that was very talented, and could help Fu Ziyu come out with plans for the court. Fu Ziyu later favored my Furen greatly, and this may not be without her older brother's credit. Shen Miao was envious about it, but at that time Shen Kaiyu was already dead. It seemed that she had not felt the feeling of having a supporter for a very long time, getting used to fighting alone in life, and dividing herself to many people. Perhaps she only lost to my Furen because of her lack of support. Now with someone protecting, and caring, it was so beautiful that it almost felt unreal. She slowly loosened her hands, and looked up at Shen Kaiyu's concerned eyes. "Younger sister." Shen Kaiyu was also stumped for words. The young female in front had bright clear eyes, and white teeth, and when she faced him, there was no longer the previous intolerance, and boredom, and what was replaced was a type of deep feeling. That feeling made him felt a little strange as he looked carefully at the young female in front of him. After a year of not meeting, Shen Miao had gotten much thinner. Her originally somewhat round face was now sharp, making her look much more delicate. Her facial features got clearer, and brighter. That naivety, and immaturity had vanished without a trace, and when he looked at her, there was a slight gratification, and unknown loneliness. Shen Miao slightly sighed in her heart. Shen Kaiyu had the naivety of youth, and this kind of naivety was very valuable with his temperament. Sincere, and energetic, it was hard to think that such a person will end up drowning in a pond. In the beginning, people were saying that Shen Kaiyu committed suicide because of his notorious reputation. But now thinking about it, with Shen Kaiyu's willpower, how would he had committed suicide just because of others blaming, and pointing of fingers? As for the initiator, it was her so-called Shenshins who forced Shen Kaiyu to marry, and now it seemed that it was most likely a plot. "Why, younger sister, keep on staring at me?" Shen Kaiyu was unable to make heads or tails of it. Was it that my face is stained with something? He felt that the current Shen Miao was strange, not the Shen Miao throwing a temper, or not the Shen Miao who treated him coldly, as if the person in front was not a young lady at all. Why did eldest brother not go to the palace today? Shen Miao asked softly. His Majesty only summoned father and mother. Shen Kaiyu smiled. "I naturally would not go." "Younger sister, you have yet to tell me what exactly went on with regards to yesterday. Why were you trapped in the ancestral hall's fire?" He constantly thought about the matter, and was also wholeheartedly concerned about Shen Miao's injuries, thus he must understand the ins and outs of the entire event. "Will eldest brother believe my words?" Shen Miao smiled gently. "There is no use to speak about it. If one does not believe them, how could I not believe?" Shen Kaiyu heard this, and quickly grabbed Shen Miao's arms. "You are my younger sister. If I do not believe your words, who else would I believe? I can tell eldest brother of the matter, but eldest brother must promise me one thing: not to tell what I have told you to father and mother, else I will no longer pay attention to you." "Why father and mother cannot be told?" Shen Qiu was somewhat confused, before he suddenly realized, is this matter related to His Highness Prince Ding? In the reports to the northwestern regions, it was also mentioned about the soft spot that Shen Miao has for Fu Ziyu, but Shen Miao was after all an unmarried female, and would not know about the fight among the prince, to be the heir. It was best for officials not to get mixed up, as those who enter the fray would die sooner. Shen Miao, however, unswervingly felt for Fu Ziyu, but Shen Xin, Lu Zuyan and Shen Qiu were far away in the northwestern region. Thus, even though they were anxious, they were helpless, and could only hope that Shen Miao would come around, and no longer love this Fu Ziyu. It is not related to him. Shen Miao was between laughter and tears in her heart, as she did not think that Shen Qiu would think that way. She said, "Before your return, Second Shen brought the 3D daughters of the Shen family to Wulong Temple to pray, and that day, I exchanged rooms with eldest sister." Eldest sister's innocence was smeared by an evildoer, and the entire Second Shen family felt that eldest sister suffered for me, and that I initiated everything. I did not admit to it, so I was punished by copying Buddhist scriptures. As Shen Qiu listened, he broke out a cold sweat in his heart first, as he felt that it was so dangerous, for it was almost Shen Miao, and not Shen King who fell into misfortune. After he heard what happened after, he was extremely angry. What did this matter get to do with Shen Miao? Why must Shen Miao be punished? This is twisting words for fallacious logic. Shen Qiu said angrily. He had no good impressions of Shen King, as she always relied on Shen Yuan, that older brother of hers, and would often not consider Shen Qiu, and also sarcastically said that Shen Qiu was a cultureless military man. Not only that, Shen Miao continued, this also coincides with the vice minister of the Legislative Bureau's Wei family, coming to the residence for a marriage proposal, and picked me. On the other hand, the supervisor of the minor treasurer's Huang family also came over to propose marriage, and they picked eldest sister. Shen Qiu was stunned. Marriage proposal. They had received a letter that the Shen family sent, but it never mentioned anything about Shen Miao's marriage proposal. This was just too ridiculous. How would the parents not be informed of their children's marriage? The Shen family's way of doing things was just too much. Wei Qian, the young master of the Wei family, is a young talent, while Huang Dexing, the young master of the Huang family, is one of the cut sleeves. When I got to know that Second Shen wanted to exchange our marriages, I could only say that I do not want to get married, and if I were to get engaged, I would only run away to avoid marriage. Thus, they locked me up in the ancestral hall. The guards that you saw yesterday were not there to extinguish the fire, they were there to guard and prevent me from running away. Shen Qiu's expressions followed Shen Miao's words, and fluctuated. In the end, he punched the table heavily, and the smile on his face had long disappeared. Seeing Shen Miao's somewhat red eyes, "Younger sister, is what you say true? I naturally don't have to lie to you," Shen Miao said. "As for that blaze, it came bafflingly. I even suspect." She gently smiles, "After all, when I die, it would be more than justified for eldest sister to change the marriage. This is just bully to the extreme." Shen Qiu angrily cried out, and turned around to leave. Shen Miao pulled him back, and asked, "Where is eldest brother going?" "I will go and argue with them. Whoever touches you will need to return a blood debt," Shen Qiu said. Shen Miao looked at him, and calmly asked, "How do you intend to argue? Where is the evidence? Is it just to scold all of them, or to kill all of them. The sarcasm in her voice made Shen Kaiyu slightly sober. He turned back around, and looked at Shen Miao before asking in a frown, "What is young sister's meaning? Why eldest brother not think why I do not want to tell father and mother about this matter?" Shen Miao lightly said, "Father and mother are both straightforward people, and father is rather impulsive. It is easy to stick out for me, but how about the consequences? The Shen family is big in Mingqi, and many eyes are observing. Today, if father executes justice for me, tomorrow the censors will write a report about father." Her lips hooked up. In this world, it is always that force comes from the side with numbers. Whoever had more people, whoever's logic is correct. In the 3 households of the Shen family, the first household going against the second and third household, and even against an old woman. Do you think that we can hold the grounds of reasoning? Shen Kaiyu was surprised by Shen Miao's words. He was even more surprised by Shen Miao's expression when speaking. That calm analysis was brutal, and was able to draw blood on the first prick, which made him cast a sidelong glance. These words were not what Shen Miao would say at such an age. As to how would an unmarried female be able to evaluate the world that coolly? He hesitated a little. Younger sister. With one glance, Shen Miao was able to know what Shen Kaiyu was thinking in his mind. Shen Kaiyu was open and candid. It should be said that the entire first household of the Shen family were all open and candid, and in this difficult world, there were no good endings for good people. She said, "Eldest brother wants to ask, why did I become as one sees?" Shen Miao looked down. "Because I have gone through all this. After experiencing so many things, there would not be one that would not change. Eldest brother, I am no longer the past me, and you are no longer the past you. Now, I only ask one question. After listening to my words, do you hate them?" Shen Kaiyu was startled, and looked towards Shen Miao, before he slowly clenched his teeth. "Hate? Why hate? Because, how could they treat you like that?" Shen Miao shook her head. "This is not what you hate." Shen Kaiyu was surprised. He abruptly found that currently the words that this younger sister of his spoke made him unable to comprehend. But somewhere somehow, he felt that Shen Miao's words were very reasonable. "What you hate, is that we have invested with our sincerity and devoted treatment, in exchange for a hypocritical show of affection, that is worse than for enemy. Because of themselves, they can have our lives. This is not what family or even strangers would do. This has already been a blood enmity since long ago, and between relatives, it is even more sinful." Shen Miao saw that Shen Kaiyu's eyes moved a little, and she sighed in her heart. If possible, she wished that she could protect the youth in front of her well, and allow him to only know about galloping into the battlefield, and become a hero that the public would respect. But she was really scared. She was scared that there would come a day, where the scene of the pond would repeat itself. She could only build up a wall in Shen Kaiyu's heart now. Remembering hate was better than remembering love, as love was the most hurtful. "What does younger sister want to say?" Shen Kaiyu finally said. Shen Miao sighed in relief. Shen Kaiyu was not truly stupid. Once he understood, some things would be much easier. "I hate them, and eldest brother also wants to vent it out for me. But, even if father and mother take action, they cannot kill all of them." Shen Miao said, "I want to deal with them myself, but this would require eldest brother's help." No matter what Shen Xin and Luo Zuyan did, they did not have any evidence on hand. Thus, if they were to kill the second household, they would have to be punished against the laws of Mingqi for killing one's kins. Because Shen Xin could do such a thing for her, she could gamble with her life, but she was not willing to see the Shinzin couple commit such a dangerous crime. Death was the easiest thing to do, but if one could retreat fully, then by using a blunt knife to grind the meat, the persons in pain would be those who were being ground. Moreover, the big fish was not yet hooked onto her bait. What younger sister want to do? Shen Kaiyu asked. Shin Miao smiled. No rush. There is nothing but time. We will do it very slowly.